In yesterday's video, we spoke about some of the leaks that we had for the brand new chapter, and I said that in today's video, we're going to take a look at what really fits the glove for what this chapter could be. So let's jump into it. Kings and queens, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. And in today's video, as I said, we're going to be taking a look at the top 3 most likely licensed characters to come in with Chapter 21. Now, obviously, this is all speculation. None of this is true. This is just our theories that we're putting together, and we're going to look at the front runners for what potentially could be a licensed character coming into DBD. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and kind of disregard some of the characters just because of some things that are going on with the licensings. Those being specifically Jason because of the lawsuit that's currently going on, Jeepers Creepers because all of the controversy that's going around there, definitely don't want that in DBD, and Pennywise just because I don't think King is ever really going to give up the rights, and some people have even said that it's not completely up to him, so whenever that gets sorted out, it will. But with those 3 out of the way, which are very popular theories, I think it really boils down to 3 other characters that could come on in, and we're going to be talking about that. If you guys do enjoy the video at any point, make sure you leave a like down below and share it with your friends so they know about these awesome theories as well. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button because over 60% of you guys are not subscribed. If you think you are, double check because sometimes YouTube unsubscribes you. And also don't forget to follow our Twitch. We're going to be live tomorrow. We've been trying so hard to get live and to be on time, but there's just been so many curveballs that have been hitting us. But tomorrow for sure, on Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 3 p.m. depending on what time everything gets settled down, we will be live. All right, let's jump on into the theories. So we're going to start from the bottom, from least likely to most likely, and talk about the pros and cons and what really pokes holes in some of these arguments and what really makes sense. So the first character that we have on the list is Chucky. This actually does make a lot of sense when you really think about it. Obviously, we received the Twins chapter, and with that, a lot of people said that with Victor coming into the game, it was DBD testing the waters on what Chucky would be like. There's even some amazing mods that are currently out there that change Victor's skin into Chucky, which can give Dead by Daylight a big indication of how that could work in the game. Obviously, they could use the information that they got from Victor and how he worked to go to the license holders of Chucky to be like, hey, this is what it could be like coming into DBD. This is how it would work. We will find a way to work. A lot of people always have this idea in their mind that Dead by Daylight won't find a way for licensed characters to work, and because there's something very small, it means that that character won't come into the game, like Chucky being too small, literally. People say, well, because of that, he can't come into the game, but honestly, do you really think that Behavior are not going to find a way to get Chucky to work when they have that much of a big licensing to come into the game? Of course they will. They'll be creative. They'll find a way to make it work. And Victor kind of showed us that they can do something like that. So Chucky definitely has potential. Now you might be saying, well, what about those leaks that you spoke about yesterday? Obviously, we're supposed to get a very rare skin for this character as well as a license or legendary cosmetic, I should say. And if the survivor is separate, what does that indicate? Well, that also fits the glove. We could get Tiffany coming in as a legendary killer. That completely makes sense in my opinion, as their powers would be pretty much the same exact thing, and there really isn't a standout survivor that you could bring in with this chapter, so it fits quite well. If DBD were to put something out original for that, then it works. It completely makes sense to me. Now, besides that, that is all of the information that we really have about a Chucky licensing. Another debate that you can make on the other side is that Chucky wasn't on the list of things that DBD wanted to bring into the game. They gave us a survey not too long ago talking about ideas and concepts that they had with different characters from different franchises, and sadly, Chucky was not on that list. But again, you could look at that either way. Maybe that was a way of Dead by Daylight saying, hey, this might be the next chapter, but we don't want anyone getting a hint onto it, so you never know what could happen. Of the 3, I believe that this is the least likely to happen, but there still is a good chance. The next one on the list is Springtrap, and I know, we spoke about this so much. A lot of people really don't want this in the game, and a lot of people do want it in the game. It is pretty much a toss-up 50-50 depending on who you ask. I, for one, am someone that thinks it really won't work in the game, not because of the mechanics-wise and the way lore setup and everything like that, just because of the fan base that it might attract. But we're not really here to debate the logistics of what this licensing can mean. We're just seeing that if it makes sense to come into the game. So let's look at the pros and cons. Now, there are a lot of cons against Springtrap coming into the game or anything with FNAF because of the recent controversies that the creator, Scott, is currently in. There are a lot of political things that are currently going on, and because of this, he has announced his retirement from FNAF. So people are automatically shooting down the idea that, hey, they're never going to see anything with FNAF again, or maybe it'll be with somebody else, or this is just the end of the road. But an argument can be made that in order to keep FNAF going and living on, he could give some of those rights over to Dead by Daylight to incorporate it into the game. A lot of people would be happy with it, and especially if they were already working on something like this could be his final tribute and goodbye to everybody. Now again, this is a big one because Dead by Daylight would also need to think about if they want to take some of this heat, because there will be some heat and controversy of people calling them out from working with Scott. Again, we're not jumping into that. It's political, it's controversy, it's subjective. We're not here to debate about that. But that's something that Dead by Daylight would have to talk about amongst themselves on if they want to do something like this. When it comes down to fitting the glove on all of the leaked information that we have, it kind of works perfectly. You can pretty much bring any iconic character in as a legendary skin and just change the appearance of what the character is. You could bring in Bonnie, you can bring in Freddy, whatever the case may be, as a legendary skin. On top of that, there really isn't a survivor. Sure, you can make arguments here and there, but there really isn't a standout survivor that you could bring into the game, so that also fits the glove quite well. Now, obviously, with these things in mind, the controversy is still the one that holds it back, and will it be enough to keep it out of the game? We don't really know. Is Scott truly retired from this and he's not going to come back? Again, we don't know. But that is pretty much all of the evidence that we have for the FNAF theory. I'm sure you guys can expand upon it a little bit more because it is a very popular theory, but that's all that I have. And now, the front runner, in my opinion, is Candyman. And I know, it's a meme. I know. We've been talking about Candyman for ages. We made multiple videos on him. My friend Polly has made so much videos on him, and it's a meme by this point, right? And we always talk about it, but as time goes on, we keep on getting more and more hints and a little bit of evidence, so to speak, of Candyman actually coming into the game, and he honestly is the front runner, in my opinion, at this time. There is just so much catalyst that kind of give the idea that it makes sense that he comes in. First of all, the big cherry on top is that Tony Todd, who is the actor of Candyman, actually tweeted out saying, "Just wait," in reference to someone asking if Candyman should come into a video game. Now, this could just be a curveball or him poking fun with some fans, but why on earth would he tweet something like this if it wasn't true? If it's not true, it'd be a big head scratcher on why he did this. Maybe he's just poking fun at people, but I find it highly unlikely that he would build up hype amongst people because of all the backlash he could get. So this automatically is a huge catalyst, in my opinion. On top of that, the Candyman movie is coming out 3 weeks from now. We're probably going to see the new Candyman movie coming out, a lot of promo going on, and the hype of it being at its peak. And if it does come into Dead by Daylight during that time, it is perfect. It sets up perfectly to come into the game. And a lot of people are saying on the flip side that, you know, the PTB is rumored to be before the movie release, and obviously we could see a lot of spoilers. People wouldn't want that to happen. The creators wouldn't want that to happen. But realistically, Dead by Daylight could just easily hide the lore, and if there's no survivor, you just play as a character as his power. They would have their own unique twist on it and make it work in the game that might not even be relevant to what the movies have. It might just be a little bit of a spin, kind of like how Michael Myers stalks you, whereas in the movies, he's just relentless and just chases you. He does stalk you as well, but he doesn't necessarily gain power from stalking you, so it makes sense that something like that could indeed happen. Not to mention, it does make perfect sense that there will be no survivor with this chapter, and if there is a legendary skin, you can easily just pick one of the other characters to have a very similar power to him. On top of that, you could just get Dead by Daylight to make a awesome legendary skin. A lot of people automatically think that because there is a legendary skin that is rumored to come out for this character, if it is licensed, that it would have to completely change them. Most of the survivors that we see get completely changed, but there's some legendary skins like the one for Pyramid Head that doesn't fully change who the character is, it just locks it in a set, and people tend to forget that. Just because it's locked in a set doesn't mean the character has to completely be changed. So it could just potentially mean that Dead by Daylight just made a locked set and that's about it. So this is honestly the front runner in my opinion, and it is a meme, as you guys may know, because we talk about it so much so like the teacher files that I always talk about. But it honestly seems like the front runner in my opinion to come into Dead by Daylight. You have the movie coming out, you have Tony Todd saying that to be patient and just wait. You obviously have all of the hype that has been generated from Candyman. When all these rumors initially came out and, you know, all these theories went around and Polly made his theory and then it caught like a wildfire, if it wasn't on Dead by Daylight's radar, it definitely was after that. And that is a really good point to show to the creators of Candyman and the license holders of them that, hey, there's so much hype going on. This can translate to sales, and on a business standpoint, it's a no-brainer. It just makes perfect sense for them to work together because of all the hype that is currently in the community. Then they can show their projected numbers, they can talk about all the business sides of things, show the other licenses that they have, and, you know, when movies came out and the hype of things, how much sales they generated, and again, it just makes perfect sense. Now, there are multiple license holders of the Candyman chapter, so this could also lead into why they didn't really get any survivors. Maybe they were working with multiple people, or maybe they were working with one company and they couldn't necessarily get the licensings for the survivor. We've seen this before, as I said, with Leatherface. We obviously seen Ghostface come in as a standalone licensed character with an original survivor, if I'm not mistaken. So something like this could happen. It could make sense because the way the license holders are set up. To me, this makes the most sense, and this is the front runner. It is pretty much my final theory on what this chapter could be, and if the rumors are true and the PTP is next week, Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, or the 17th, I should say, not next week, Tuesday, the 17th, we should start seeing some teasers relatively soon. So it's only a matter of time before we truly know what this chapter could be, and maybe it's not even licensed. Maybe DBD is throwing a big curveball at us. Maybe it could be something like, hey, they're bringing in original killer, and the original survivor is going to come at a later time when everybody can play them after the PTB. That way people don't feel excluded from the PTB, and since it's only perks, maybe it's a new marketing idea. Maybe it's something that they really want to do. Now, the one thing that I know about this survivor is that it's gonna have to carry a lot of weight. When you're bringing in a character that's just a standalone, especially a survivor that's pretty much just a reskin, it's gonna have to carry a lot of weight, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, to really get those sales out. At the end of the day, behavior is a company. If you're just putting out a regular character, as you always do, with some standard perks that don't really stand out, unless someone is really attached to that character, they're not going to buy them because it's not in a package deal. That's the whole point of these big DLCs, that, you know, you get everything together. You get the new map, you get the killer, you get the survivor. You obviously don't have to pay for the map, but you get everything together and you're basically forced into the package deal. If you have the opportunity to choose, most people are just going to buy the killer if they play killer. And if you play survivor, if the perks aren't good, or you're not attracted to the survivor or the way they look, their lore, whatever it is, and you're not relating to them, it makes no sense to buy them. We know that the survivor is definitely going to have to pull some weight, and DBD are going to have to step up, and something that really correlates with this license. So it could be two originals, it could be a license and original, we don't really know. Obviously, DBD leaks are saying they're 99% certain that it is an original, so we'll just have to wait and find out. Again, all of this is just a theory. None of this is true or ready to happen. We don't know, I should say. So take everything with a grain of salt. Don't run around saying that King said that Candyman is the next chapter, 100% confirmed, because that's not what I'm saying at all. We're just speculating that if the new chapter is indeed licensed, what are the front runners to come on in? And potentially the characters that we ruled out could still come into the game. We don't know. DBD are really good at throwing curveballs at us, but in time we will find out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What arguments do you have for a character coming into the game? What arguments do you not have? A lot of people have been going all over the place with this. I even seen some crazy theories that Mr. X could come into the game. You know, there's so much going on. There's a lot of theories that make sense. There's a lot of theories that can be shot down. At the end of the day, they're just theories. I don't think it's going to be anything super big. like a Pennywise or something like that, if they do indeed manage to get the rights to that, because it would overshadow the previous chapter, which was Resident Evil. And if you do get something that big, you would kind of want to save it for the next anniversary event that you're going to be getting. So we'll have to wait and see. But my friends, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. Again, if you did enjoy, leave a like down below. Don't forget to subscribe for some more Dead by Daylight content. And remember, tomorrow on Twitch, we will be streaming. Drop a follow so you guys can make sure you know when I'm live. That's gonna do it for me. As always, I'm the King. I tip my crown to you guys, and we'll see you in the fog.